Hi, this is Roland Pruitt, and this is Roland Pruitt's Kaiju Review, number nine. Number nine. Number nine. Dogora! I got to say it like that. Dogora! That's what we're going to be doing on the show today. I noticed that my mic muted right before the end of the credits, and I like hiccuped. I hope that not one of the monsters didn't hiccup in the opening theme thing. I know who could tell me if it did, and that is my lovely assistant, Anastasia.
Howdy, partner.
Are you from Texas now?
Yes, sirree, Bob. I sure is.
Did one of the monsters hiccup in the opening theme before you
I
mute?
didn't likely hear it. No,
All
I
right.
didn't hear it
Okay.
at all.
All right. I saw my mic muted again, and I was like, uh-oh, because I thought I was okay. I thought it was muted already.
It's
All right.
already muted.
Let's
already muted.
Yeah, let's go ahead and bring up our other able-bodied assistant, as we say, and that is Professor Wallnott.
Always a pleasure to be here.
And he's wearing a Sahara mountain hat. I love it.
I'm wearing my official kaiju hunting hat because apparently this is the equipment that you need. And speaking of which, I do admire your new attire there, your Gamera T-shirt, even though this is that's an entire different franchise from the Godzilla.
Right. Well, here's the thing: is I always wear the Godzilla shirts for the Godzilla movies, and this is Dogora, and there's no Dogora T-shirts out there that I know of. So I got this cool Gamera shirt recently, and I wanted to wear it, so I wear it on this show. I'm not trying to show any disrespect to Toho or anything. It's just a shirt. So thanks for pointing it out.
Well, there's no disrespect was meant. I was simply admiring your shirt there, your attire. I thought it was quite nice. I do like that.
Okay, so very awkward. So I'm just going to say, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm quite well. However, I am a bit miffed. I must admit, I am miffed.
Why are you miffed?
Well, I'll tell you why.
Gamera, right?
No, actually, it has nothing to do with the Gamera shirt. Okay. I was made aware recently that there's some gentleman who claims to be some sort of sergeant who's making some rather unpleasant and untoward comments about our Miss Anastasia on another program, and I felt like,
what is going on? What is this about? I think I know what you mean now.
Well, Master Briefing Room, Master Sergeant Havoc.
Yes, Havoc. Yes, he was saying some things about our Miss Anastasia, which I found rather offensive.
Oh,
and I felt like this should not be left. That should not be left unaddressed.
What did he say?
Well, claiming all sorts of rather nasty things, saying that she was interfering with your relationship with the Major Hazard, who is, I believe, another co-host over there. And
yes, she's a co-host.
I mean, after all, she is your lady friend, and
we're
whatever Miss Anastasia might say, that's we're all adults here, and I don't believe
nice person. She says very nice things. Yes, that's true.
Exactly.
And I don't see any problem between me and Hazard because of it. But other people seem to be getting involved and saying things. We're good friends.
Right. Yes. And
this is precisely the problem. Thank you so much, Professor. You show your erudition every day, your scholarly mind. You're like Plato or Aristotle. You are so far above where other men's is, because exactly and Roland, this is the key. Other voices, these are rabble rousers, gossipers. They want to do is create controversy, and like the professor said, we are all adults. It is all responsibility to just be mature adults about everything. It does not have to always be like this pitting people against one another. This is how we get to World War III, to be honest. It's always somebody just talking out of their whatever to try to create controversy. But you see, not everyone is as intelligent as us who are on this screen, and that is problem. Not everybody is as learned as we are. So we must understand that just because Millie is a little bit of a airhead, it's not her fault. It's not her problem. We can be mature and say, "You are airhead.
Talking about.
You are blonde. You are blonde. You know, we understand the blondie jokes." It's okay. It doesn't bother me that she has no talent. Cosmos can do whatever he wants to do.
I'm sorry, I don't want to set the precedent that we're saying we're this intelligent show and the other monster show is like the
but
idiot
it's
show.
true.
I want to get
It's
into that.
pravda. It's pravda.
Not me.
Is true. You know, so I am saying it. Maybe you, Roland, are a very nice person. You don't want to get, you should not be involved. You will be trod upon by people who are not as bright as you. You are a very good person with nice soul. And that is the thing. So I'm trying to learn more about your culture. This is why I have cowboy hats, cowgirl hat. This is why I say partner and y'all and I say howdy. I'm trying to learn to connect with the culture that you are a part of. So that
And
is fine.
a wonderful job you're doing too, Miss Anastasia. I
Oh,
must say,
thank you.
I am in awe of your attempt to assimilate into this culture. I
Thank you.
myself am a stranger here as well. I come from old Blighty myself, from across the pond. And,
Yes.
I've had to learn to navigate the sometimes difficult waters
You just say-
of this particular
Yes.
culture. And so,
He
so
said,
I applaud you as well.
Thank you.
You
We
know,
are
we're
learning together. We are
Yes,
learning
we're both
together.
we're both strangers in a strange land, which
Of course.
is
Yes.
not always accommodating to people like us.
Yes.
So there you go.
Thank you so much for understanding.
They don't have great kaiju films in Old Blighty either. I mean, I'm sorry,
Yes.
but Conga,
No,
you know,
yes,
Reptilius.
I do
Oh
have
my
to
God.
acknowledge that. Yes. But we do
The trip
have
is cool though. The Day of the Trip is very good.
but we do have Professor Kitimus and Doctor Who. So there.
Yeah, Doctor Who's cool. All right, so let's get into Dogora.
Yes.
In Toho
Let's
scope.
talk about Dogora. Yes.
Yeah, they're back in color again. They're doing the color films. They just finished up with King Kong versus Godzilla, which was a huge hit. I gotta admit before we get out of the gate here, that Dogora as a kaiju, as a monster, he's a giant jellyfish basically. It doesn't really float my boat as a monster, but there it is. I said it. So. But okay, so we're going out into space and we're seeing some little space flashes and then on the outskirts of Earth there, and in this Japanese Space Authority kind of place, they're watching a satellite that they set up, and it hits. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's very much like a sort of NASA control room.
Right, except in Japan, and because it's Japanese movie. So the satellite.
I picked up on that with all the Japanese.
The satellite hits these things that are floating around in space. There's kind of an explosion, and there's a reaction, and it creates Dogora.
Oh.
Dun, 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 dun. There it is. There's a chain reaction happening. Dun, 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 dun. There it is. So you get the opening credit, and the music that I was just humming is by Akira Ifukube. And this is a really good score by him, as composed to some of his other scores where he doesn't. Tragon was okay. That score, King Kong versus Godzilla, the score was not so good. So he's coming back. He's making a comeback. Really good themes in this one. So the chain reaction has happened. It's become Dogora. And then we come to, what the hell is that?
A large city, probably Tokyo, and
Oh, okay. All right. So
and the
yeah, they're
jewelry
honing in
store.
the diamond exchange, right?
Right. Yes.
There's a diamond exchange, and there's a group of diamond thieves breaking into, and we see Akiko Wakabayashi. Oh my gosh, she's the gangster mall in this film. Let me see if I can find her name here. Hamako. Hamako is the gangster mall.
Yes.
She's a
quite
bad girl in this.
Oh yes, very bad.
That's
She's
the
a
best
very
part
bad
of this
girl.
movie, I think. So
Yeah.
anyway, she's waiting outside in the getaway car. She's the lookout.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And of course, they probably should have put one of the other guys in the car as the lookout because she's very distracting. She's attracting police left and right. They're like, "Hey, baby, what are you doing here?" And then we see a guy floating in the air, just floating in the air. He's got a hold of a case. What we don't realize is in the case is more diamonds. And that's why he's floating in the air. We don't realize it. Dogora. I'm sorry. I used to say, when I was a kid, I used to call this movie Dogora. I used to put the stress in the wrong place. It's Dogora. Stress on the Dogora. So I just watched the Japanese version. That's why I know that. So anyway, she's like, okay, the cops are gone. You can keep working. And they're working on the safe. And they have a safe cracker. His name is Maki. He's played by Hideo Amamoto, who plays a lot of characters in these Toho films. His best is Doctor Who. Speaking of Doctor Who, he played Doctor Who in King Kong Escapes, which is coming up in a couple of films. Well, I guess maybe. Oh no, I guess we got about a month and a half before we get to that. Anyway, I digress. There's a little guy that's it's kind of nervous. They call him Small Fry. He's played by Horea Kato. And again, he's another guy that we see in all of these Toho films. And that's Dogora in his early stage, his infant stage, and he's melting through the wall so that he can get to the diamonds. And they all lift off the ground and start floating around because Dogora wants them out of the way. And they're like, it's kind of comical. To be honest with you, the whole diamond thief gang thing in this is kind of corny to me.
Yes.
I wasn't a big fan of that part of this movie.
No.
Go ahead.
No, you know your observation's correct, Mr. Pruitt. This part I felt was I mean I could see why, because it leads you to the whole diamond thing, but
yes,
yeah, it sort of lessens the movie for me.
Now this where they're floating off the floor is not done with wires or anything. It's done with like a superimposed picture, and it looks really cheap as far as special effects. I'm not sure if IG Super Ed did the effects on this. He probably did because he did all the special effects for these.
I believe he did. Yes.
But that was he kind of I don't know, cut corners with the budget or something on that.
Yes, they didn't do the wire foo.
So they get freaked out. She gets freaked out. They run to the car. They haul Boogie, as we say. Get out of there because they're scared because something lifted them up off the ground and they don't know what it is. It was an invisible monster, like the id monster from Fantastic Voyage. Was that Fantastic Voyage?
I believe you mean Forbidden Planet.
Forbidden Planet. I'm sorry, I always get those two titles confused. Fantastic Voyage is a different film.
Yes,
Forbidden Planet, yeah, the id monster.
Correct.
And that the invisible monster from Johnny Quest.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
That thing freaked me out when I was a kid.
Oh my God! Oh, I believe that I may have had nightmares after that one. Once it's exposed with the paint and everything, and yes, it's quite.
Johnny, get over here quick! Bandit, get away!
Exactly. Yes. It was quite frightening, sort of cyclopean monstrosity.
Yeah, it only had one eye. Anyway, because they hit it with paint and you could see it, and it was like a really weird, creepy monster. Now, we are seeing diamonds being poured out onto a plate. It's in a professor's house. Dr. Munakata, played by Nobuo Nakamura. He's a very sarcastic doctor in this. The looks on his face, he's very sarcastic.
Yes, I very much enjoyed this doctor. He's not the usual sort of typical sort of, oh yes, we're very agreeable. No. He's a bit of a smart ass.
He is. So and he's perfected a method of making synthetic diamonds, fake diamonds, and he is visited by Inspector Kame, played by Yosuke Natsuki. And this guy was like an Elvis Presley guy at the time. He was a huge star in Japan. Also coming in is Mark Jackson, played by Robert Dunham. Robert Dunham is in several of the Toho films. The last one I think that he did was he played the head of the underwater Seatopia. I can't remember his name now, but he says, Megalon, wake up, Megalon, in Godzilla vs. Megalon. I always remember that line. He was wearing a toga in that. But in this, he's wearing a mountain hat. And we find out that he's very wily, and he evidently steals the synthetic diamonds.
Except he doesn't know they're synthetic. He thinks they're the real deal.
He thinks they're real, and
that becomes a very important plot device later on. Yes, sorry, I didn't mean to step on your.
Yeah, well, it's weird because later they find out that, or he says that he is a insurance inspector for diamonds, for the diamond exchange. Right. So he's evidently taking diamonds on the side.
Yes, he claims to be some sort of insurance investigator, but we really don't know what his game is.
So he goes outside and he is met by Akiko Wakabayashi.
I would certainly get in a car with her. Yes.
Yeah, who wouldn't get in a car with her? You know, I think everybody's thinking that in this scene. Yeah, get in the car, do it. But in the car is also, you know, a couple of the other gang members. They got guns on him, so he has to get in the car. Okay, well, if I gotta, let me sit by the broad. I don't know why I did that as a cowardly lion from The Wizard of Oz, but
no.
I like it because you're a cute Japanese broad.
Well, you know, he does look a bit like Bert Lahr.
Maybe that's why. Maybe he looks like him. Don't make me laugh. My teeth will pop out. So, this girl comes up. She's again in the. I think this is the last one that she does for Toho, the earlier kaiju films. She plays Masayo Karino. It's Yoko Fujiyama, or as we like to say on this show, Yoko who sings better than Yoko Ono.
Yes. Now she's the innocent girl. She's the good girl in this story, and quite lovely in her own way as well. Yes.
And she's the assistant to Dr. Munakata, and her brother comes into play in a little while. Oh geez, and I forgot to write his name down. Damn it. But you'll recognize him when you see him. He's been in 1,000 Godzilla films. He's in all of them somewhere. In any case, we get the ceiling shot of the gang members meeting with the gang leader. Now, the first time I watched this movie, I thought this guy was Jun Tozaki, who he looks a lot like. Jun Tozaki is in a lot of the Toho films, usually playing a scientist or a doctor or an editor, newspaper editor, or someplace, or even a general. He's a general in King Kong versus Godzilla. But this guy is actually one of the guys that was in the I always forget his name. Kurosawa films.
Right.
Uh,
Yes.
his name is the actor's name is Sayaburo Kawazu, and he's in a lot of the sword pictures by Sarakawa. So anyway, they bring in Mark Richards, right? No, Mark Jackson. Sorry, Mark. He looks like a kid that I used to grow up with, David Richardson. He does. He looks just like him. I wish I had a picture I could show you. I grew up. I'd say he grew up to be Mark Johnson, but anyway, Mark Jackson. Anyway, I'm just digging my hole deeper here.
Yes, let's move on, shall we?
They take his diamonds away, and they're fake, and they say, "Yeah, put him downstairs, lock him up." I don't know why they don't just kill him. You know, most gangsters just kill him and dump him on the side.
Right, exactly. Yes.
They take him downstairs. Anyway, so we have a scene, a meeting scene with Inspector Kamai, and because they look like they want to kill him. I mean, look at them. They all look like they want to kill him. And after some of his lines, we want him to kill him. Because Mark's got some corny lines. I'm sorry. We get the ceiling shot again. Like there's a hidden camera in the light on the ceiling or something, or in the ceiling fan. So anyway, they knock him out and they take him downstairs. And we have a scene with Inspector Kamai talking to the doctor again. And that's when we find out that the diamonds were fake. And the girl's there. And again, I'm just going to say Yoko because Masayo is and I'll say Masayo. Anyway, Masayo is starting to I don't know. I guess Kamei is starting to get the hots for Masayo. Because I'll take you home. Look at that bad girl, will you? Oh my God. James Bond will get in a car with her. He does. You Only Live Twice. She's in You Only Live Twice. Aki. So anyway, man, he looks like Jun Sasaki. I'm sorry. Jun Fukuda. Jun Fukuda is a director. So okay, the guys take him downstairs, throw him on the floor. Then he gets the jump on him, knocks him out. That Michael Jackson. He's got one white glove. Mark Jackson. I steal diamonds. Anyway, we meet her brother who works for. Damn, I can't remember. He works for the
Science Institute of some sort of, yes.
Like NASA, the Japanese NASA there.
Right. Yes. Exactly. Yes.
So anyway, she introduces her brother to. Actually, she lives by the coal yard, so she doesn't live in a great area. And she's like, "Oh, you're surprised?" And he's like, "I don't care," because she's hot, and you got to be cool. You live next to a coal mine. You don't want to say that, Right, am I right, Anastasia? She's not listening. Am I right? You don't want to say that to a girl, right? If she lives next to a coal mine, you don't want to point it out. What? You live here? Next to the dirty coal mine? You don't want to do that. She's not going to answer. She's upset with me now because I'm being chauvinistic, I guess. So anyway, the coal starts going up into the sky. And they're like, what? What's up? What? And it's going up, and the sky is eating the coal. They're eating the coal. They're eating the cats. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that. So anyway, they take some pictures and they show them to the doctor. And the chief inspector, played by Jun Tazaki, the guy I told you the other guy looked like. See, he looks just like the gang boss, doesn't he? They're like twin brothers to me.
Yes, he does. There is some resemblance there. Yes.
And the gang is keeping an eye on Mark Jackson.
No, this is one of the policemen.
Oh, is that one of the policemen? I'm sorry.
Yes.
But the gang's keeping an eye on him too.
But the gang's yes, they're keeping up.
But yeah, you're right. That's right. That's the police officer. I'm watching a phone, so the pictures are very small. So anyway, the hotel. He goes to his hotel room, and Inspector Kamai makes an entrance from the window. You can leave the way you came in. I'm not telling you anything.
You should have had the shot of him peeking down from the ceiling, like just his
Well,
head. I was like,
I've got it. I just didn't put it in the timeline. I mean, I took like 1,600 photos. It's just only. I mean, if we want this show to be like around an hour, there can only be like 200, 300 shots in the timeline.
it's such an odd and kind of amusing image of him just sort of poking his head down.
I'll send it to you. I'll probably send it to Linda Miller too. She dated the guy for a while.
Yes, I think you should. I think you should.
Oh man, when she spoke about him on It's Casual, and on Big Monster Briefing Room too, they did a show about I think it was on King Kong Escapes, and she talked about him. Oh, you could just tell, her heart was aflutter. She really loved the guy, but she had to leave Japan. So, what could have been? So, it's very dark here.
There's a truck and it's carrying a big consignment of diamonds.
Oh, that's right.
Presumably. And
there's another truck on it, supposedly.
Yes.
And the gang is set up. They're going to try to stop the truck. The chief inspector, the chief inspector Dreyfus. I hate you, Kamei. I hate you. I want to kill you. No, that's another movie. I can't remember the other cop's name either. I didn't write it down. But he tells them, "Hey, there's a consignment of diamonds. I got a feeling that my twin brother's going to try to hijack it." He doesn't say that. So on the road, the gang is ready, and they put Akiko Wakabayashi out in the road. This is a scene that's stolen and used in the movie Superman.
Yes, I was just saying. Yes,
Miss Taskmaster.
This is the Miss Taskmaster movement.
Exactly the scene.
Moment.
They stop. They're like, "Hey, maybe we should inspect her, check her out, huh?" And then a Volkswagen pulls up. It's Herbie the Love Bug.
Suddenly, exactly.
But it's Mark Jackson. You would think that Mark Jackson would have a cooler car. Or no, it's Kamai, isn't it? Is that who that? No, it's Mark Jackson.
Yeah, it's Jackson. Yes.
Yeah, Mark Jackson. He's there. He knows about the Commission of Diamonds too, and he wants to steal it. He wants to get it, and so he moves past the gang boss. The gang boss is shooting at him. We talked about this before the show. The big problem with this gang of diamond thieves, they should probably get into another line of work, because I'm going to let you finish it.
They should call this the gang that can't shoot straight, because they can't shoot the side of a barn. I mean, they would shoot fish in a barrel and miss.
They're like stormtroopers.
They're like exactly. They're like stormtroopers. It's ridiculous. I mean, the hiring practices of Japanese gangs leaves something to be desired, apparently.
Well, and later there's a gunfight that is hysterical, because they're even lobbing dynamite, because the safecracker carries dynamite around with him everywhere, and he can't hit the broadside of a barn with a stick of dynamite.
Yes, it's
so
quite.
They keep missing with the dynamite, and he throws it, and Kamai throws it back. He's just picking it up and throwing it back like an idiot. Anyway,
yes.
And
not only that. All right, so there's the guy's shooting. These guys are using an acetylene torch to cut the thing. These two guys are completely clueless, because they're so focused on the girl, they don't even realize that they're being burgled.
Gunshots.
Exactly. Or the hiss.
Or that
loud torch.
Volkswagen engine pulling up.
Exactly. Nobody stops. What's all that noise? Oh, never mind. There's a girl on the road here.
But it is Akiko Wakabayashi. So
exactly. So
So okay. So they finally do get. We're surrounded by gang members. How the hell did that happen? More fruit punch. So there's a big gunfight, I guess you would call it, and they're mostly running around, and another truck appears, It's a coal truck, I think,
Yes.
because it actually flies in the sky like E.T. It just levitates and goes over the other truck, and they're all like, well, hey. And Kamai shows up with the other detective, and they're all looking at the flying truck. And Akiko Wakabayashi is looking at the floating truck from down on the ground. She said, "Can I get up now?" So I'm waiting for the next slide because I don't even think we've gotten to the flying truck yet.
Yeah, we still have the shootout.
Yeah, there's a shootout.
A ridiculous shootout here.
Where nobody hits anybody.
Exactly.
It's
and there it is. There's the flying truck.
Ready for chitty bang bang, chitty bang bang. I want that gold truck. Candy, lollipops, and they're all free today.
Oh, good Lord. Yes. That was rather
It's
frightening.
a flying gold truck. So it goes off into the stratosphere. Again, nobody has any idea that it's a space monster yet, that it's, eating coal and diamonds. Dogora! So they're working stuff out on the board. Okay, let's try to work out the facts. The truck flew over our head and up into the stratosphere, and we don't know why. So I can't even remember if this is the moment where Kamei, I think it's Kamei. Anyway, that Kamei comes up with the idea, hey, there's a kaiju. Because, Toho's made a lot of kaiju films up to this point. So, Japan's culture is, they know what kaiju is. And he goes, maybe a kaiju is pulling this stuff up in the air and it's eating the coal. It's eating the diamonds. This is going to be so dated in like just a couple of months.
Yeah.
At least in 4 years, we know.
But the chief isn't buying it. It's like, we're detectives. We're not monster hunters.
Yes. So, but the doctor's like, well, he could have a point there. This would explain a lot. So that's their meeting. We finally get a notion that, okay, this could be a creature of some kind, and it could be growing as it's eating, and it might be eating carbon, and coal, and it's carbon based, right? And diamonds is made out of coal, and it might move on to other minerals and substances like humans.
Yes. And this is the moment, the scene before, this is the moment when it's revealed that Jackson is actually some sort of insurance investigator, or he claims to be, and it shows him his ID. He tells him, yeah.
That's what he tells him. That's the story. He's sticking to it.
And
now we're opening up the trunk that was taken out of the back of the truck, and we find out the diamonds aren't there.
Mm-hmm.
And that would make sense because this truck didn't fly into outer space.
Yes. Quite disappointed that they're all just candy. And the guy in the white, he just pops one in his mouth like, yeah, it's quite nice.
Later, Mark Jackson says, yeah, I took those diamonds. But again, if he switched the diamonds in the truck, why did he chase after the truck in his Volkswagen? Putting his life in danger and risk, knowing the gang would probably shoot at. Oh, he knows that they're a bad shot. That's what it is. They're not going to hit me. I'm just going to make this look good by chasing after them. So anyway, the NASA guy tells him the story about, her brother, Messiah's brother, tells him the story about they hit something in outer space with their satellite. And then rocks start to fall out of the sky. And then Dogora shows up. And now they realize, oh, yeah, there is a kaiju. Oh, my gosh. So they inform the press, the newspaper rolling into frame. They're looking into outer space. Oh my God, there's a monster out there. A kaiju eats diamonds and coal and maybe soon people. We don't know. They never say that in the movie. They give you the heebie-jeebies. Some, the doctor said some things that kind of allude to it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, ew. They'll be eating us for what's inside our bones or something. So another scene with the chief inspector and Inspector Kamai and his buddy, telling him to keep an eye on Mark Jackson. I don't trust him. And the doctor says he's going on a train to some kind of conference or something. He's going to take Messiah with him. And Mark Jackson's on the train. And Akiko Wakabayashi's on the train. Hamako, I should say. Hamako. And doesn't look as attractive with that silly floppy mountain hat on. But hey, who's going to say no? As the British would say, as you would probably say, I wouldn't kick her out of bed for eating crackers, mate. So I hope Anastasia didn't hear that joke, because it's very.
I heard it, but I let it pass. You're so witty and funny and cute. I love it. You have good sense of humor, and you're very culturally understanding.
Thank you, dear. I've been very kind of chauvinistic on this show because of Akiko Wakabayashi. She brings out the naughtiness in me. So at this conference, they meet up with a general. And we recognize the guy. He's a character actor, plays generals in all these movies, or in the earlier films anyway. I didn't write his name down. Sorry. I was in a hurry before the show. And then the air sirens go off and they look up. Everybody looks up in the sky. And Dogora makes an appearance. And this time, he's looking big. And they can hear it on the loudspeakers now. They can hear it. And as it's coming out of the clouds, a swarm of wasps goes up and into it and causes I guess it stings it. It stung jellyfish. Get that? Who would have thought? And something in the bee stings or something in the bees that it consumes is bad for it, we find out. So rocks just start falling out of the sky. So it's kind of like what do they call it when ice falls out of the sky?
Hail.
Hail. It's like a hailstorm, but with rocks. So the gang is not too happy about what's been going on. They've been cheated out of a bunch of diamonds. They go to Mark Jackson's hotel, staking out. He goes in, and again, Kamai is there, and they have a little back and forth. And Kamai gets the better of him this time. And then they look out into the outside, and they see the rocks falling out and everything. Oh, look at that. That's weird. That's peculiar. And the military, it looks like they're shooting up at Dogora. And big war room there. Can you see it on screen? We can hear it. And then we finally get a first glimpse of Dogora in its adult stage. It's a giant space jellyfish, basically, is what it is. With its little tendrils reaching down. And again, more coal starts going up into the sky, and it's eating the coal. It's going to get bigger and worse. It reaches down and grabs a bridge and pulls that up and ends up dropping it because the military is shooting it with cannons. And that's evidently hurting it, stinging the jellyfish. And it's actually breaking off pieces of Dogora, making new little Dogoras, which is not good.
Yes.
We find out, oh, no, we can't do that because, and they use this again in War of the Gargantuas. If you tear a piece off of a Gargantua, it might grow into a new Gargantua. So you don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So SOS, damn it. We're being attacked by a giant space jellyfish.
I found it horrifying. To me, it's almost sort of Lovecraftian. This creature,
Yeah.
this very cosmic horror of, I think it's all the tendrils, the little tentacle things kind of floating about. It's just
maybe if
you
it had actually killed humans, maybe it would scare me more. But I'm just like, it's a giant jellyfish.
Yeah.
I don't want to see the Godzilla movie. Godzilla versus Dogora. King Kong versus Dogora. I'm not seeing it. I'm not buying it. So anyway, he says what we need to do is to take the serum made from wasps and they process it. They put it in some rusty barrels. Go back to that last slide, please.
Yes, you do. Yes.
And then they say, oh, you know what? Those are rusty. Let's put them in some clean barrels. I swear to God, they go from rusty barrels to clean barrels.
Yes. I'm trying to imagine the shop foreman who receives this order. Like, they want us to start making what now?
Bee juice, wasp juice. You want me to put it in 30 barrels?
What?
I can do that for you.
All right. Well. Oh, it's a government contract. Oh well.
If you want, we can stick it in barrels for you, but they might not be new barrels. So they show the military in action, some nice stock footage of Japanese military on the move and setting up.
Mm-hmm.
And the gang is all here. They're outside.
They're cool shades.
There's another gangster played by Yoshifumi Tajima. He's in a lot of these films too. So they're all eyes are trained on the skies. Looks like they got tape on the windows to protect it from the falling rocks. Because you never know if one's going to come in sideways.
Yeah. I thought it was just some sort of kanji writing, like writing it on the windows. I don't know.
Really?
Yes.
Ain't no typhoon, that's for sure. But the clouds are getting dark, and that means Dogora is coming. So sure enough, Dogora shows up. We start seeing more coal going up from the coal area there. It looks like a strip mine area. And they've gotten the gang has taken over Mark Jackson's room and tied him up and tied Kamai up.
Kamai, yes.
Yeah. And he's like, hey, you better get us out of this, And they set some dynamite up with a slow burning fuse. So Jackson helps him get loose, and he shoots. He actually shoots. These guys were not a good shot, so I'm really amazed that he was able to shoot, something and hit it.
Yes, it takes him a few tries, but yes,
and takes out the diamond fuse, the dynamite fuse. So meanwhile, outside, Akiko Wakabayashi's character Hamako gets a bag of diamonds that they know are real diamonds, and she runs with the diamonds. She's such a bad girl. This is really to show bad girls you shouldn't be bad girls. You should be a good girl. You shouldn't do this because they all surround her on the beach and they're about to kill her, And then the police show up just in time. Mark Jackson and Inspector Kamai. Yeah, Kamai. And then the other police show up, a bunch of them. There's a big shootout on the beach that we were talking about earlier where nobody hits anybody. We can zoom through this. It looks good, but by gosh, nobody's hitting anybody.
If this were an American film, at least half these people would be dead by now.
And the guy's throwing dynamite. Yeah, shoot the dynamite in his hand so it blows up all around him. So use this guy's bones as shrapnel, for crying out loud.
Exactly.
That's a line General Howitzer would probably say. So anyway, again, Hamako, she doesn't learn. She goes for the bag and tries to get away again. And the one thing they hit on the beach is Hamako.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh darn it, we can't hit the broadside of a barn, but damn it, if a woman tries to run with our diamonds, we are going to hit her right in the heart. We're going to get her
we can't hit the broadside of a barn, but we can hit a broad.
Good one. You say we couldn't hit a broad? No, I said you couldn't hit a broadside of a barn. Again, there was no cover. She just ran out on the beach. I think I'll run for the water. That's what I'll do. Uh-oh. I forgot to plug my phone in before the show.
Oh, dear.
All right, here we go. So, all right. Now, they are doing their plan, the military, to stop Dogora by spraying this
it's like wasp
juice, whatever it is, in the sky, into the clouds. And the gangsters are and the police are having a hard time shooting at the other people because they keep looking up in the sky, seeing what the hell's going on. Rocks start falling out of the sky, big ones, because Dogora is hurting. And look at the doctor. This is the only time he smiles in the film. He's such a sarcastic bastard. This is the only time he smiles in the film. Oh, we got you, Dogora, you piece of shit. I'm sorry. I'm supposed to keep it clean. Sorry, Anastasia. Now you got to run the thing. Anyway. Sorry, folks. Your kids already know that word. I guarantee it. I don't care how old they are. They know it. They've heard you say it. They heard it say it in school all the time.
But got to point out. I must point out. Yeah, there we go. That the gang, because the police apparently have no training in how to fire a weapon. Apparently, they get taken out by a big, giant, falling piece of Dogora.
Dogora can hit them because he's got bigger ammo. So, and again, for some reason, they decide to get out from undercover and just run out into the beach again. No real reason for it. Let's go somewhere where we should get shot. Well, they can't hit the broadside of him. Big old rock falls on them. So, Kamai and Mark Jackson are looking at each other going, oh, it's a good thing we didn't get out from undercover. All right. We're smart. We're good guys. So they have a little back and forth at the airport. You know, are you really a diamond inspector? I'll never tell. Whatever. So I can't remember. I'm paraphrasing. It's one of those at the end of a movie moments, you know.
Exactly.
And then the plane flies off. Look at the smoke coming off the back of that jet. Good Lord. It's no wonder we don't have an ozone layer anymore. Skin cancer. And the end. That's the end of the movie. I knew we were going to get through it quick. It wasn't much of a movie. I'm sorry. I mean, there was no kaiju in it. It was just Dogora for a couple of minutes here and a couple of minutes there. Very few scenes of Dogora. So yeah, as far as the Toho films are concerned, this is low on a lot of people's list, I think. It's down there with Atragon. At least Atragon had Manda, which we see later. But again, for only 5 minutes or so, and it's in the dark. So, but don't get me started on that again.
Oh, no.
Let us bring up the lovely Anastasia.
Thank you so much. Thank you. This is wonderful. I love all the military, military stock footage of Japanese military. Is very interesting. Very historical. But this Dogora is yes. But this Dogora is exactly what Professor said. It's very intimidating. However you say that, scary.
Yeah, the sad part about the rusty barrel thing is there was really some rusty barrels out there full of something somewhere, and that's where they got that shot. Anyway, so somebody got the contents of those rusty barrels somewhere. let's take some pictures of nuclear sludge. Maybe it was a dumping ground. I don't know. Yeah, we can use this shot. I think somebody's gonna notice.
That was the beginning of the zombie apocalypse later on. Yes.
See, now that would have worked if they used it in a zombie apocalypse film, right?
Yes.
So, how did you feel about overall about Dogora, Anastasia?
It was like I said, it's very scary prospect to have something like this. You know, when Dogora collapsed the bridge with the tentacle, it's like, oh my gosh, this thing can do almost anything. And it's very hard to get the bullet inside of the creature, you know, and it's hard to aim at creature like that. So, you know, I say it's good to be aware. I know that on the other shows they do training film and they say, be prepared, you know, these things are real, you know. I myself don't know if this one is actually real, you know, but they would say it probably is real. But my question is, what is way to eliminate creature like this much more swiftly from the get-go?
Crush up some bees and some wasps and make some bug juice.
Just immediately to do this. Yes. So this is knowledge we have now. Yeah.
Yeah. That's their poison.
Right. Because initially, when they saw the bees, or yes, they saw bees, or they thought the bees being sucked into the cloud, but it turned out that there was this giant nest of wasps,
right?
And and so the wasps went up and they were stinging the creature, and
conveniently,
that's what. Yes.
How convenient!
So they figured out. How convenient. And so they figured out, oh, well, yes, the toxin that the bees, or the wasps rather, inject, that's the solution. And so, yes, they mass produced it. It was an international cooperation. And, unfortunately, some wound up in rusty barrels and caused the zombie apocalypse to take on.
Which made it even worse.
Now
it's rusty bee juice. And Anastasia earlier said it's hard to put a bullet in it. Well, they actually did shoot missiles into it, and unfortunately, it broke it apart and turned it into more Dogoras. So yeah, you don't want to do that.
No.
So yeah, just sting it with some bee juice, a lot of bee juice, preferably in shaken, not stirred in rusty barrels. And there you go. No more space jellyfish. Ready for the next time. You see, that's not an easy fix, though. I mean, who would have guessed that? I mean, in Day of the Triffids, which we mentioned that earlier, it's salt water. You just disintegrate them with salt water. I mean, that's easy to come by, but let's get some wasp juice. I think Dogora is the only movie that uses that to get rid of the alien. In oh gosh, the War of the Worlds. It's just the simple, bacteria that that we have to fight every day. Kills the aliens.
Yes, because the Martians were not immune to our to our bacteria and viruses,
so they got
and what have you.
And coughed and died.
Yeah, see, they should have masked up
after they got Tom Cruise all dirty.
Exactly.
Damn it, son, you got some people in your hair. All right. So next time on the show, one of the best all-time Godzilla movies, Mothra versus Godzilla. And I say that absolutely thinking, going into it, wow, really, a giant moth? That's gonna be something that Godzilla's going to find hard to fight. But the fact of the matter is in all of the Godzilla movies, he hasn't lost but a couple of times. And one time, this time, he clearly lost to Mothra. So, and that's coming up next Tuesday. That's Thanksgiving week, next Tuesday. I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving. Then after that, Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, which introduces a four-way battle and introduces the space dragon that is menaced Godzilla and his friends for years, decades. King Ghidorah.
King Ghidorah, yes.
So that's in 2 weeks. After that, Frankenstein conquers the world. A non-Godzilla, but a good one. On the next, I think General Howitzer said on his last show they're going to do Monsters Go Home, and it's going to be next Wednesday at 6 o'clock, not Thursday at 7 o'clock. So tune in for that just before Thanksgiving. This Thursday, they're doing Chompy and the Girls. So I almost forgot that. And Sandy D is going to be talking all about puppets on No Icing on Thursday with Rory Penland, the guy of 1,001 Voices, the man of 1,001 Voices.
Yes.
And that's what's coming up.
Quite a talented gentleman he is, yes.
And next week on Two Guys and a Gal Talking Movies. I don't know what it is about Cosmos Creative, but they always have 3 show hosts. They're going to do, wow, not even a peep out of you. Damn. I thought that was going to catch you off guard. Anyway, the hell are they doing? Not Diane Ladd. Natalie Portman.
Natalie Portman, yes. Natalie Portman, yes. Yes, I believe there was some sort of odd back and forth about who's going to be the actress that we discussed, and there seemed to be some confusion, and I think they finally settled on Miss Portman, because apparently Mr. Pendon was unfamiliar with Miss Lane, so
it can happen.
It can happen. Yes, not everyone knows about everyone, so there you go.
Not in the Matt Dillon movies. She's in a lot of Matt Dillon movies. Anyway,
yes.
All right. So thank you for watching this episode 9 of Roland Pruitt's Kaiju Review. I will be selling some of my art, some of my Kaiju paintings on eBay in the very near future, so you should look for them. And again, I'll personally sign it to you if you purchase. So thank you very much again for watching this episode where we've discussed Dogora. And I hope you tune in again soon. Got a lot of
thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe. Thanks.